Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Today, I wanted to talk about two movies: Limitless with Bradley Cooper and Robert De Niro versus Lucy, starring Scarlett Johansson and Morgan Freeman. Now, I am going to compare these movies kind of head to head, but before I begin, I think it's worth also pointing out that these two movies could actually be a team against the movie Phenomena with John Travolta and Powder, both from the 90s. All four of these movies are kind of different variations of the same theme. Again, Phenomena with John Travolta and Powder came out around the same time in, I believe it was the 90s, whereas Limitless and Lucy came in the mid 2000s, like let's call it 2015 ish. Now, both movies are have a main character, Scarlett Johansson or Bradley Cooper, who, in this case, in both of these movies, it is through a drug. They get essentially superhuman intelligence, is a quick way of putting it. Each of them go into this in different ways, but the quick version of it is that in Limitless, Bradley Cooper takes a pill that gives him temporary super intelligence, and he has to keep taking this pill, and that adds tension to it because there's only so much of the pill. Also, it turns out that withdrawal from it could kill you, and there's tension that comes in with like he makes a deal with the mafia guy to get money, and he starts taking the pill, and hilarity ensues. With Lucy, Scarlett Johansson actually is forced the drug. She is turned into a mule, and she's got this kind of like purple substance that is put inside of her body. It breaks, and that expands it. In Lucy, almost immediately, the idea of getting superhuman intelligence turns into superhuman powers. They sort of flatten the distinction between the brain and the physical universe. In short, not only does she get superhuman intelligence and she understands the world, but she also now can manipulate matter, right? Because in this movie, there's kind of like almost a spiritual idea of intelligence, versus Limitless. It is just intelligence, right? Bradley Cooper, I mean, you can do a lot with that kind of intelligence. I mean, it is instant recall. It is the ability to learn languages in seconds, to read people's emotions, to put your hand on someone's chest and get a sense of their health because you understand pulse and you can see all the micro expressions. And I mean, there's a lot you can do with superhuman intelligence in Limitless, but in Lucy, Scarlett Johansson eventually transforms her entire body into into a computer chip, right? Into a flash drive, so that she can download her knowledge. And there's this, again, kind of spiritualism around the idea of passing information on. Hence, she becomes data incarnate to pass on. And that distinction happens almost immediately because the second she is given this drug that pops inside her body, you see her kind of like climb the walls as if she's able to defy gravity. Versus in Limitless, the second he takes this drug, you do see his pupils dilate. There is a biochemical reaction happening in his body, but what he describes is this kind of immediate awareness of everything around him, right? Like the second he takes the drug, the first thing he does is he cleans his entire apartment. He, is able to now focus and write this book that he's been trying to write for forever. Whereas again, with Lucy, she climbs the walls. She then does come down and she's able to escape a terrible situation. Like I said, she was a mule, so she's kind of been captured. She's handcuffed, but using her intelligence, she's able to essentially get out of that situation. Overall, because of that distinction of like where in Lucy it becomes like a physical superpower, I give it a little less credit, a few less points. Also, Limitless created a universe, right? In Limitless, Bradley Cooper takes the pills, and in the end, You see him running for, I believe it was Senate, and maybe he'll go for president, or maybe not. He finds that potentially limiting, right? There's a lot he could do with his super intelligence, but there's this ongoing tension of where's he going to get the pills from. Robert De Niro, in the end, tries to corner the sort of NZT market. And again, just to show how this is a total universe, there was a TV show, a great TV show that was spun out of this movie. The TV show actually does have one or two guest appearances with Bradley Cooper, but it's a different young person who gets access to NZT and starts like solving crimes, for, I can't remember, the FBI or the CIA or whatever, but he becomes like this super spook essentially. But he wasn't trained as a super spook. It's just that now with this drug he does it, and Bradley Cooper kind of keeps him on a leash and says, I'll keep giving you the NZT, but you have to be my person on the inside of the CIA or whatever. But the point is like it creates this universe, whereas with Lucy it really comes to this final conclusion. The premise that this drug allowed Lucy to get access to 100% of her brain, which again, Morgan Freeman's character is the brain scientist who has theories about what it would be like to access 100% of your brain, and sure enough, Lucy is the person that gets it, and so he's his theories come true. But they come to this kind of final conclusion, this explosion where again Lucy transforms herself. I also would say there's this motif throughout the movie Lucy where, you'd be familiar with it. I don't know what to call it. There's probably a name for it, but it's like, they talk about the transferring of DNA information, and they do this flashing of like nature show, like shorts, right? Like two animals getting it on, two birds getting it on, two lions getting it on, two humans holding hands, right? Like these quick flashes. And they do that throughout, right? So like whenever Morgan Freeman begins and he starts talking about, humans, the first human, and it sort of shows the dawn of time and, the universe being created, things like that. And so again, I get it. And I'm not even against it. They're trying to get into this, I'll use the word spiritual again, understanding of information as kind of like the thing that drives the universe. And Lucy now has access to limitless information, pardon the pun. And it becomes kind of spiritual. Like this is the ultimate thing that someone can be, is pure information. And so there's all this, again, brief animal documentary shots throughout that try and make their points when they're talking about evolution, essentially. With Limitless, there is also a similar motif. Like whenever he takes the pill, there's almost like a Requiem for a Dream type montage. Like, he takes the pill, he pops it in, his eyes dilate, and then there's like a slight change in the coloring in the movie. Like what, the cinema, it's like, tinted. And that is to express that he is now kind of tuned in. But again, the way that we understand Limitless and his abilities are much more tangible. I mean, obviously both are science fiction, but Limitless is just, what would it be like if someone did have total recall, total absorption of knowledge, total awareness of every minute detail that is happening around them, the ability to like calculate, the square footage of, something immediately, and from that be able to calculate the right trajectory of X, Y, or Z. I mean, it's, God level intelligence, but just intelligence. And I appreciate that it sort of kept it there. Also, it's interesting that, again, you can see the motifs are similar. Both of them are playing with this idea of superhuman intelligence. Both of them end up mixed in the underworld. In Limitless, it's with I can't remember if he was Russian or Ukrainian, but some sort of Eastern European mafia type person who fronts him money, which then he, quadruples and quintuples on the stock market. But then that guy's like, oh, you're in on at first he thinks that, Bradley Cooper is just another criminal who has some sort of fix on the stock market, but then he realizes himself about the drug and he wants it. Whereas again, in Lucy, she was actually against her will given the drug to be a mule. And then after that, the people who were trying to get the drug from, I think it was Shanghai to London or something like that, start, chasing her. Both of those add an element of, both of the sort of mix with the underworld, add an element of tension and an excitement and move the story forward, but ultimately aren't important. They're just there to sort of like draw the story out. And again, both of them have, sort of the young star, Scarlett Johansson, Bradley Cooper, the old established star, Robert De Niro, Morgan Freeman. Slightly different takes again on where these can go. In the end, I have to give it to Limitless. I do. The stuff with Lucy where it got too spiritual, too supernatural, I didn't like. And Limitless, again, gave the ability to create a whole world, a whole universe that they did explore in a TV series, which I really appreciated. Because it's not about... In Lucy, it feels like it is about Lucy. It is about her somehow. And it can't be repeated. Whereas with Limitless, it's about this drug and who has access to it and what they're going to do with it. Interestingly enough, again, if we were to put these two against Phenomena and Powder, both Phenomena and Powder kind of touch on similar stuff that Lucy did with the spiritual. Powder more so. We could go into those movies if folks wanted to later. These were great movies from, I want to say, the mid-90s, where, again, John Travolta, through cancer, gets access to more of his brain. And then in Powder, I don't think there were any big stars in it, but it was a great movie about this kid who... through, I can't remember, like lightning strike, or, he's sort of like this second coming. Again, he's sort of super intelligent and also, again, has these kind of superpowers, the ability to kind of move things, heal people. In Phenomena, John Travolta also starts to get the ability to like move objects with his mind, things like that. It's less than Lucy, but it's still in that vein. Anyways, great. All four of these are great movies if you're looking for things to do, all around these similar motif of like what happens with superintelligence and different extenuating circumstances. So in the end of those four, I would go, if I had to do it in order, I would do Limitless, Phenomenon, Lucy, and Powder. That would be in order from best to worst, going with my gut. The end. Like and subscribe. Peace.
Hey, did you like this video? I hope you did. I'm working hard to try and make content for you, for free. All I ask is that you like and subscribe. Take a moment, click the little subscribe button. It's not going to hurt you. You can always unsubscribe later if you decide you hate me or I gave a take that you didn't like. But for now, give it a shot. Maybe you'll have some fun.